Hello, how's everybody?
Doing good.
Good, doing great.
Awesome. Is it Akili?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Loud and alive, man. How you feeling?
Oh man, best day of my life, sir.
Yes, sir. We out here.
We out here. And if anybody was seeing us rolling this weekend, we was rolling all throughout the district. We didn't have to leave the district area for a lot of things that was going on. And so for those who seen us and those who didn't out there, we be in the streets. And so we supposed to be having a special guest on here tonight as dealing with the a request that was made. And so for animal control. Are they able to join us? So we're gonna wait till that happens. But you know what it is. What time is it?
It's late.
So therefore, we're gonna go ahead and start. Akita, we're gonna just move you on up to the process of wait on animal control, as they are supposed to be on here tonight as we was filling requests. So we're looking at going to a Discord meeting as well, because you know, as anybody was on last week, you know, these continuous hacks and things of that nature. We just are trying to eliminate that as much as we possibly can. And so we're going to try to move over to a platform. But from what my understanding is we're gonna have to kind of utilize both until this other one gets some video feed. And so with that, Hakili, go ahead and take over, sir. You are the subject matter expert, and this is my millennial, and he's cybersecurity and the guy for all of the social media.
Absolutely. I appreciate that, Corey. So basically what the goal is with these chats every single Monday that we have, we're going to utilize Zoom for video presentation and so people can see everybody, you know what I'm saying, checking in every single time weekly. Discord is a addition to what we have going on to continue the conversations throughout the week. So Discord works similar to like different like chat rooms, private chat rooms that are available for different subject matters that are going on every single week that we talk about in these meetings. You know what I'm saying? 6:30 to 7:30 is an hour time, but we recognize that everybody has different questions and things that they want to really like maybe have a further conversation about or like harp on a little bit more. So we created this platform or set up this channel to be able to continue those and give everybody a voice. So basically, let me move on to the next slide here. So it's 3 easy steps to register for Discord. And I'm just going to go through this slideshow and then we're going to go through an example real quick of what this looks like and how to move along. So just to show you guys, there's 3 easy steps. You visit discordregister.com. You create an account by filling in your email, your username, and your password. And then you just verify your email from a link that is sent to your inbox from the email that you put right here. You just click the button and then you're all set up on Discord. From there, you go to the district5miwi.org website. We put a link at the top that says join Discord. After you click that link, it sends you to this page right here. You accept the invite and then welcome to the chat. So just to do an example of that so you guys can have a really just forward view of exactly how it goes. So we have this right here. And Tamiko, she gave us the privilege to be able to use her as an example as I register for the Discord channel. So I'm going to go through that with her example using her name. But so I'm on the district5miwi.org website right here. And you can see the join Discord button at the top. So I'll click that. It'll take me to this accept invite. And then I'm into the channel. So basically in the channel, we have, this is like the overall lobby of Discord. You can see people that are in right now. There's about 4 people that have already joined, but this is a new thing. So it's gonna grow over time. So you'll see like more people come into it as it grows, especially everybody after they join today. So we have the general chat, the District 5 community chat, stop the violence. As you know, there was a whole incident that happened a couple of weeks ago, and a lot of people want to talk about this, but they don't know where to go. So this is an opportunity or a channel that we can talk more about that. There's a march coming up soon, so everybody can, you know what I'm saying, you can coordinate and post your views or your thoughts or opinions and things like that up in here on like what we can do and how we can continue this voice and not just allow it to be one-time thing, allow it to continue to be something that we remember and talk about. So Tech 5 Me We, there's a lot of different tech programs like Leap Start and Leapfrog that they have different like programming communities and free courses and things. So that's stuff that I think is really helpful for the community to know about. So it'll be posted up in here so people can talk about it. And if you know anything that's going on yourself, you can share it to the chat that you think it'll be helpful for the community and people of the community. Here's a feedback channel where you use this channel to give feedback on these Monday night meetings, maybe people that you would want to see speaking on the Monday night sessions that we have. Then this is the public works one too, with the stuff that's going on with different housing issues. And there was stuff I remember joining one Monday night meeting that we had somebody from Public Works that was talking. So I created a channel for that to talk about those. He talked about a lot of different points and stuff like that, like the city and the streets and everything like that. So that's what Discord looks like. And basically it's as easy as typing, just like on Facebook, you say, hello, this is a test. And then that's me. So, and you'll get a notification on your phone that people are talking whenever you join the chat. So you'll see, okay, people are active in the Public Works chats. You know what I'm saying? So that's how that works. And you can delete your message. And it works like that. So I'm going to go through now. I'm going to transition on what it looks like to register for an account. So Tamika, I'm going to use your email for an example. So you'll get the verification link whenever the account is created. So this is the accept invite. So from starting here, this is the URL for where you'll do this. So right now, what I'm going to do while I'm here, I'm going to post this link in the chat for anybody that wants to follow along or have it for themselves so that you can join the chat now. But if you would like, I would like everybody to follow along by clicking on this link to create your Discord chat channel. And then we're also going to move to the District 5 website to be able to join the chat. So I'm going to continue through, but feel free to follow along. So for Tamiko, we will grab your email right here.
Mr. Bradley, can I, let's go radio slow and give a little people time to get on the same page, because this is a little bit of a process.
Okay,
and so,
absolutely. I was about to say,
right. And so
I can answer some questions if anybody has, if we have time for that right now.
Right. But let's get the, raise your hands if y'all ready to go ahead and start with him as we go through a step-by-step tutorial. That'll be a good little thing to do. So we got a little bit of time, so we're good.
And I want to let you know, animal control is now on.
All right.
Okay, yeah, we do have it. So yeah, I was about to say, so maybe we can do that another time, but hopefully.
Right, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, hopefully that makes sense right now, but I guess I can answer before he gets started. If there's any quick questions on if it makes sense, or just a thumbs up in the chat if it does make sense, or.
So what we can do this, we're gonna let animal control go, and at the end you can wrap up and we can go through the tutorial and then start an animal control Discord, and so people can start getting the word out, because this is a hot button issue. And so is that okay with you, Mr. Broderick?
Hey, that sounds good to me.
Is that okay with
pass
everybody
it
else?
over.
Is that okay with everybody else? Well, that's just how
Yes.
Absolutely. And so we appreciate you. So without further ado, Animal Control, thank you so much for taking time out of your day and coming and joining us here in District 5 and the city of South Fulton. And so we do have some hot button issues that only you can answer. You're the subject matter expert, and y'all be able to let us know what's going on and what y'all plan to do. And is there anything that we can do to assist you and be more effective? Without further ado, you have the mic, and the mic is yours.
Sure. So I am Trey Law. I'm the Director of Field Services here with Lifeline Animal Project, who currently holds the contract for Fulton County Animal Services. We've held a contract for Fulton County Animal Services for about 10 years now, and we hopefully will continue to do so. I am here as a support system, so without further ado, fashion, to raise any questions or concerns that you may have with me.
Before they ask the questions, do you want to give them a general overview of what all animal control covers and the
Sure.
process of what people should do or what things they're supposed to contact you for and how they're supposed to contact you?
Most definitely. So animal control provides services dealing with domestic animals only. So domestic animals, we consider that as livestock, dogs and cats. Only time we ever deal with cats are if they are sick, injured, or if they are part of a animal cruelty case. So we provide a wide variety of services dealing with those form of animals. Those services include animals at large. The only animals that we do not tend to at large, which are cats, and that's because cats are free roaming within Fulton County, as well as free roaming within 70% of the state of Georgia. With that, we also provide services for animal cruelty. So that's whether it's neglect, that's just simply if someone, possibly may leave their dog outside without food or water, as well as tethering, because tethering is illegal within Fulton County. We do provide oversight and enforcement for tethering. Tethering is what's the right word to say? It's a little tenuous because a lot of people believe that tethering is any time that you leave a dog outside on a tie out, which is kind of sort of true, but tethering only includes if there's one post. So we do allow we do allow folks to use a runner system, which goes from point A to point B, and the animal's able to slide back and forth. So that's not considered as tethering. We do, as well as enforce animal cruelties from severe cases to neglect cases. To severe cases to less severe cases. The more severe cases where we're talking about with aggravated cruelty, starvation, death of an animal. We unfortunately are unable to pursue those cases because those are more on the felony level. So those are handled by your local police department. So we do try to work with your local police department to ensure that those who are involved in those crimes are prosecuted. We do handle misdemeanor cases. Majority of our misdemeanor cases are handled through city ordinance violations and are bound over or upgraded from just a simple ordinance violation to a misdemeanor level. Animal control does not enforce barking dogs. Barking dogs is a police matter, and that's because they are a noise ordinance violation, as well as animal control does not have the training and the proper technology that we can use to measure decimals when it comes to noise ordinance violations. So that's why those are handled by the police departments. We do also handle any type of bite investigation. So that's anytime that someone is bitten by an animal. If we only handle those bites if the victim of the incident wants to report those bites. So say if you are a neighbor and you saw your neighbor get bit by a dog, unfortunately, animal control will not be able to do anything about that unless the victim of that incident comes forward and would like to pursue charges. That's pretty much the gist of it. Animal control does not deal with wildlife. We do receive some calls for wildlife. Unfortunately, we do not. There's a range of different reasons why, specifically because you have to be a licensed wildlife specialist to handle wildlife, and we are not. So the only time that we ever deal with wildlife is during exigent or extreme circumstances where an animal or a person may be exposed to rabies. So that's the only time that we really do deal with wildlife. That's really about the gist of what animal control handles for the most broad aspect.
Are there any incidents or comments that you would like to discuss?
Well, I have a question. This is Don someone. I guess sometime last year we had a red fox in our backyard. You don't handle the wildlife, correct?
That's correct. Due to that, the federal government does prohibit anyone without a wildlife specialist permit or license to handle wildlife. Animal control does not hold that permit, nor will we probably ever. So wildlife is redirected to a certified wildlife rehab specialist or removal company.
So what animals do you handle? Just dogs?
Yes, sir. So primarily dogs, livestock, if there's a cruelty or if that animal is at large, as well as cats if they are injured or sick. But those are the only type of animals that we do handle.
Okay.
Are there any additional comments or questions?
This is Wanda Lewis. I have a question or a comment. I know during the pandemic, it seems like animal control has changed their process as far as picking up animals if they were running loose in the neighborhood and being a nuisance, such as chasing kids or elderly people. Has that now changed? And are they picking up animals that are roaming freely through neighborhoods, such as dogs? Not,
So animal control has always responded out for nuisance animal. Anytime that an animal is aggressive or a public safety concern, we will always respond no matter what the situation may be, whether it's COVID, smallpox, monkeypox, whatever it may occur in the near future. We will always respond for those type of calls. Yes, our services were limited because of COVID. They have since resumed, and they were limited again due to overcrowding of the shelter. As you can imagine, our shelter is built for 80 animals, and we're currently holding over 250 animals in the building. So as you can tell, that is a very, very unsafe environment for both the staff as well as the animals. So we had to make some changes and prioritize our objectives a lot better for us to make sure that we resume those normal services. And we have since resumed our normal services. We have been responding out to every and all calls. We're currently working on a tier schedule, which pretty much means that when animals are intaken into the building over the counter, which means through our front doors, they are only impounded because of emergency situations. Just because we are currently seeing a hardship right now in our shelter where we don't have enough space for animals. We're currently working on alternatives for that, but we need the community's help in doing so. So we're always looking for volunteers. We're always looking for foster parents as well as forever parents to adopt those animals that are adoptable in the shelter so we can get them out of the shelter. With that tier level, again, like I said, we're working on a tier 3 level. That also means that Monday through Friday, we are on normal operations from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., which means that we respond to all calls of service that comes in between those times. Anytime after 7 p.m., already police, as well as any other public safety assist, whether it's fire, EMS, or possibly code enforcement. On the weekends, we are operating on a priority only basis, which means the same thing that we'll be responding to sick, vicious, or injured, PD assist, animal cruelties, or neglect. So that means that stray loose calls that aren't a public safety concern at that current moment will have to resume when operations are back to normal, which is Monday through Friday. This tier level is only temporary while we're currently dealing with our shelter situation right now, but that is currently how we're operating right now.
Okay, all right. We got some fire. I think Dan had his hand up, and then down the line, Tamiko rolled the hands up, and then the questions in the chat.
It's my turn.
Yes.
this might be a very odd question, but I have a dog that's old, and the dog will probably pass here in the next year. And if the dog passes at home, does Lifeline, is there any way, how do I dispose of the dog at that point in time?
So you can either hire a private cremation company. You can dispose of it through a vet. But Lifeline does not dispose of any deceased animals. We have to pay a contractor for animals that are deceased, shelter ourselves to dispose of those. So because we don't have a crematory, or we don't have any type of funds that's set up for those type of services, we do not provide those services. We do partner with other vets that are willing to take deceased bodies, cremate them, and then give them back to the pet parents for a fee. But Lifeline does not provide that. Neither does Fulton County Animal Services within the contract.
Thank you.
Excuse me,
Attorney Clark. Mr. Clark,
Yes. Yes. Yes, I'm here.
or, I'm sorry, Johnny Clark, do you have a question? Or Mario Clark, either or.
No, I don't have any questions. Great presentation.
Alrighty, Mr. Clark isn't answering. All right, Ms. Johnson.
Okay, if you have a dog that is tied up in your backyard, like on the road, and they never give him any food, and his home place is under a trampoline. Now, do you call that dog abuse? Can you answer that?
Yes, ma'am. So what you would have to do is you would have to dial our main number, which is the 404-613-0358 number. I'm not sure what the extension is. It's either 1 or 2. You have to listen to the prompts because we recently changed it. But you will follow those instructions and you will be connected to a Fulton County emergency communications officer that dispatches our officers out. Typically with that, if there's an animal that in this case, what is sounding like that it may be tethered, that is considered as neglect and cruelty. And typically with these type of situations, we usually issue a written warning to the owner requiring for a compliance date. When that compliance date comes back up, then that owner either needs to make sure that that animal is always inside at all times or provided with the necessary housing requirements that it requires. And once again, like I said, that a tether is considered anytime that a dog is tied to one single post. If it's on a runner which goes from point A to point B and they're slide back and forth, that's considered as proper confinement within the law. So that is allowed, but they are required to have a dog house. So a trampoline would not be considered as a dog house. A trampoline would be considered as a secondary shade. And once again, that's still not a secondary shade, which is considered a dog house.
Well, you all came out and did nothing, and he's still under the trampoline.
What is the ad?
Not being fit. I'm not gonna give it out over the phone, but the supervisor told me he was coming out there, and he came, I guess, and the dog is still tied to the trampoline. He's wrapped, he can't go that far because of the rope that they have him on is wrapped around the trampoline, and he never get any food and water. He done lost so much weight.
What's the street name? How about that?
I'll provide it to you offline.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Can you give me your phone number again so I can type it in the chat?
Yep, so it's 404-613-0358.
Thank you.
This is Mr. Farrell. So how many officers are in the South Fulton area, like on a daily basis, or is it I mean, I know y'all do countywide, so I used to know the supervisors a few years ago, and they said it was anywhere from 2 to 3 per, shift.
So it depends. As you can imagine, we cover 4 different sections within the county. The contract only provides 15 officers. So with 15 officers, that typically means that with scheduling, there's usually only 1 officer on a shift, which those shifts run from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. and 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. And then we have 1 overnight officer that's always on 24 hours overnight for emergencies only. There's typically, I guess you can say 2, 1 primary officer, and then there's a secondary backup officer that has another primary section that they back up the South Fulton area if they're assigned. So typically we do have 1 officer on that's primary and 1 officer that's on secondary. That means that we will have 2 officers on the at a time.
All right. Ms. Ernestine has her hand up.
This is Johnny Clark. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead, Mr. Clark.
Go ahead, Mr.
Okay,
Clark.
my question is very quick, and it may seem a little odd. I had a situation a year or 2 ago where a robin bird was making a nest in one of my fans hanging outside. Robin got stuck, and the fan clipped his wing. So I called, and they told me I had to just wait until the bird dies before I can remove it. Is that correct, or is that something you all wouldn't come and remove the bird?
So if that's information that was provided, because when you call in to Fulton County E911, so they dispatch all the police departments. So if that's the information that they provided, that is very incorrect. And I can definitely talk to the new chief that's in charge of Fulton County E911 to ensure that that doesn't happen. I understand that was, previous years, but that's correct and not correct at the same exact time. So yes, we do not handle any type of wildlife whatsoever unless it's a rabies vector, and the rabies vector has come in contact with a person or a dog that can potentially expose them to rabies. But the case that you're talking about, we would refer you to a wildlife control specialist that will be able to assist you, because once again, they have the license to provide those services and we do not.
Okay, thank you.
Follow-up question to that is, what about chickens and roosters, like people keeping those as pets now? And go ahead.
Yep, that's considered as livestock, so we do handle those. We handle those probably on a weekly basis, where people may call and say that their neighbor's chickens are out at large. We will issue a citation for it if we don't physically witness a. So here's the thing. So if anytime you call animal control, if animal control gets out there and say that the offense is not occurring, say if the dog was loose before when you called, by the time we got there, the dog was there, and we got there and the chicken was already confined, animal control would not be able to issue a citation unless the complainant or the caller or there's a witness that states that they will be willing to testify in court. And that's because the officer did not witness it. Therefore, we cannot issue the charge based off of it. We would have to have a complainant that's willing to go to court and testify to that. So that would be the same situation with this. We would respond out. We would issue a citation if the complainant wants a citation issued. If we see it, then we would issue a citation based off of what we physically saw.
All right, Ms. Sumlin?
My question, you spoke about the shelter. Where is the Fulton County shelter located?
So it's located currently at 860 Marietta Boulevard, which is off of Donnelly Hollowell. It's right across the street from the Rice Street Trail.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's awesome. So let me ask you a question, because a couple of things here. When you said y'all have an adoption program, have y'all ever thought about doing a pet for a vet day or something like that, or partner with the VA and partner with veterans and doing a pet for a vet?
I mean, we really don't look at short term. Short term. I guess you would say placement. That's just because we want to ensure that if we get the animal out of the shelter, we won't have to worry about the dog coming back the next day or the day after that. So if there's a veteran that's willing to come to our shelter to foster an animal for an extended period of time, or willing to foster to possibly adopt, then we'll definitely do that. We haven't really thought of a program, but like I said, our main accomplishment, as you can imagine, with 250 dogs in the shelter, well, we actually recently had over 300 dogs in the shelter. The animals are prone to illness when they're in close proximity and being housed with animals that they have no relation to, they have no knowledge of. So it becomes a very stressful environment. So we try to find permanent situations for them, or long period placement for them. So we do have various different partners that we program with, that we partner with, to get animals out. Like I said, it's definitely needed in the community for the community to help us out as much as possible by either fostering or adopting.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. And so, right, that would. I'm just thinking about veterans who come back as they do act as companion dogs. They do come out and have those for long-term solutions, but maybe you have different experience in that one. We can talk offline and probably arrange to do something as well. But when you talk about the facility, that was, to my understanding, did y'all get approved for, what is it, a 23 or $30 million facility upgrade for the animal shelter? You're smiling on that one like that. So, I just wanted to am I to believe that? Help me out.
So yes, we did get approved for a $36 million shelter. Unfortunately, currently at the time with the COVID outbreak, it's very difficult to receive materials to start the building project. So our contractors, as well as our designers, have been working tirelessly every single week to obtain the materials to start the building project. But as you can imagine, with everything else, COVID has really slowed a lot of things down when it comes to materials, even down to materials for fencing. Typically a fencing job that may cost $5,000 is now probably about $15,000 to $20,000. And it's actually about an 8-week delay on those type of materials for fencing. So as you can, the building equipment and building materials are a lot more expensive and a lot more harder to get.
Yes, sir. It's about a 600% increase. And I just want to know, so was it the $23 million is the actual cost, but the $7 million for $30 million is like the buffer to account for inflation of the material rates possibly?
No, so so the price was increased. It was increased to, I want to say, $36 million.
36 million. Oh, right.
And honestly, by the time, and this is just my personal opinion, based off of my experience, by the time the shelter actually gets built, it's more than likely more than that, just because the cost of inflation right now.
Okay, we have some more questions from the chat and from. Go ahead if you have a question.
Ms. Favors?
Yes, during the adoption process, has the doctor examined these dogs and have they had their shots?
Yes, ma'am. So by law, every dog that leaves out of the shelter for adoption has to be fixed, which is either spay or neutered based off of their sex, and they have to be vaccinated. So all our animals are tested for parvo as well as lepto and various different other diseases to ensure that they are not sick before they leave. Of course, just like any other, human or person, in the process of the day that they leave, 2 or 3 days later, they may end up with, similar symptoms to a cough. Then of course we'll treat that because you recently adopted that animal from the shelter. But all of our animals are vetted and examined prior to them leaving the shelter.
Okay, awesome.
All right, we have a couple questions. Can you give the guidelines for adopting those that may not have adopted before?
So I can't really speak on that because I am in charge of field services. But if you go to our website, which is fultonanimalservices.com, and you click on the adopt link, that will give you all the instructions on what you would need to go through the adoption process. It is typically not that long. We are always running wave options. We always have animals that are sponsored and our shelter for adoption. Honestly, probably 90% of our adoptions are either fee waived or reduced. So adoption fees aren't ever the issue. So if money is an issue when it comes to the adoption fees, we're always willing to work with getting the animal out of here. Even if we required a $6,000 bill for an animal that's been in our shelter for 3 months or whatever because of an injury, we don't care about that $6,000. As long as we can get that animal out of the shelter and into a loving home, we're always willing to push that fight.
Are you saying go to your Lifeline website or Fulton County website? What website are you referring to?
Either one. They both mimic each other. But you can either go to lifelineanimal.org or you can go to fultonanimalservices.com. The Fulton County, the fultonanimalservices.com website will give you all the instructions and all the information that's provided to you about animals within Fulton County. So they would get the adoption process. They will also let you know that all animals are licensed when they leave out of the shelter, because within Fulton County, every animal that is owned has to be licensed. So we do provide the license.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So since you said this, y'all really don't care about the $6,000 that it takes for 6 months to house it. Is there a program where you can just say somebody come and adopt a pet since that money is out there and keep a short amount of time to give a financial incentive so they can care for the dog initially up front? Maybe like half that cost?
So typically when we have animals that are injured, say if it was a $6,000 bill, we will rehab that animal to the full capacity before we adopt it out. And that's because we don't want to put another burden stressor on the adoptive parent. So we make sure that all of those animals are vetted and ready for adoption before we adopt out a dog.
Okay, good. Thanks for the clarity, because I was gonna say, since it could have been a financial incentive for somebody to adopt a pet.
And like I said, majority of our adoptions are sponsored. We do have sponsors that we partner with that will sponsor and pay for adoptions. They may be private sponsors, they may be corporate sponsors. We always have fee waived adoption, no matter the time of year or anything.
So you pretty much, when it comes to adoptions, you pretty much remove all the barriers of excuses, and your objective is to get the animals out there and to a long-term home.
Absolutely. As you can imagine, typically on a pre-COVID, we were bringing in probably about 20 animals a day, and with bringing in 20 animals a day, we're probably adopting out 15. Right now, we're bringing in about 40 animals a day, and we're getting out about 15 still. So there's a huge area of concerns and barriers that we run into when it comes to adoption. So we don't ever want to hold anyone up from adopting an animal, just because the conditions that we find these animals in, we want to make sure that they're going out to live a successful life.
Okay, so do y'all have active patrols, or do y'all just act by phone calls or reports only?
No, we do. I operate on active patrols. We run about 70 to 75 calls a day. And on any given day, there is about 4 officers on a shift. So as you can imagine, it's really hard to perform active patrols in between calls, because we want to ensure that we're answering all the calls within the timely fashion that the county requires us by our contract. So we do take in account active patrols.
So that's 4 officers per shift for Fulton County, correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. That's it. Y'all hiring?
We're always hiring. Well, we currently have 4 officers currently in training right now, because we were very, very short staffed with officers. So hopefully by next month, we will be back to normal operations when it comes to officers. But Lifeline is always hiring. We always have positions open, and those positions are a wide range of positions that eventually could lead you into a animal services role that I am in charge of.
Absolutely. And just for the sake of the people out here who want to share the interest, what is the starting pay rate for such said person who wants to get an animal control? There's a beginning.
So our animal control officers pay $18 an hour. Our shelter staff, their positions range from $15 an hour on, and range from community caseworkers to animal technicians to vet technicians, and we also have other programs that we are building out. We provide extra services to the community.
Awesome. And do y'all hire people with alternative backgrounds? And are y'all officers certified?
Yes, we do hire with alternative backgrounds. The only issue and concern with alternative backgrounds are, it depends. Work backgrounds, yes. Criminal backgrounds, it all depends. Just because by law we're required to be deputized to perform the duties that we are assigned to within Fulton County. So with that being said, we have to go through the same exact background check as the sheriff deputies do.
Okay, awesome. Also, y'all are certified.
So we are not post-certified. Animal control officers are not law enforcement, and that's where a lot of people kind of sort of get frustrated with us, because when we respond out to calls, there's only but so much we can do without law enforcement. So there's a whole process to the way that we operate things. It's pretty much, we operate similar to code enforcement. We do not have arrest powers. We do have citation. We do have the authority to issue citations. And our citations can be bound over to criminal proceedings, but we do not have arrest powers. Our animal control officers do have to go through a training class that's in 3 different modules. So of course it's impossible to get all of those done at one time within a year. But well, not within a year, but within a certain period of time. So we spread those out throughout the year. So our animal control officers, by the end of their first year, they are expected and should be certified as animal control officers through the National Animal Care and Control Association.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm gonna just make one more suggestion. I'm gonna let somebody else ask a question. When your officers come ride through the south side, just tell them come now, Old National, up Jerome, over to Red Oak, back up the Flash Shows, come map over there. They can just drive through and back on 29 in their route. So, because we do have some issues with that, and just drive through and just see what they do on the normal route if they just scanning through. And so, anybody else questions?
Is there a charge for taking animals to the shelter when they cannot be cared for, or dropping off stray animals?
So there's not a charge for the finder of the animal. There is a charge for the animal owner. So if an animal is picked up, if your animal is impounded for any given reason, whether it's your animal's running loose and someone turns it in, or an animal control officer picks up the animal, there is a impound fee, as well as a care fee, which that care fee it increases every day. We do allow owners to get their animals back for a fee waive redemption fee, and that's only if they are willing to spay or neuter their animal. And that is to ensure that we are controlling the population. So that is the only time that a redemption fee is waived, is if the owner agrees to have that animal sterilized before it leaves our shelter.
So what if you find it and it's already spayed or neutered?
then typically it just depends on the situation. If it's in one of our zip codes that we provide services to for Pets for Life, which is Pets for Life is a privately funded section of Lifeline, then those are fee waived just because of the circumstance in the area that they live in. But it honestly all depends. And the situation that we're currently in right now with the shelter overcrowding, if an animal is picked up, the animal's in, very fair condition or very good condition, we can tell that the owner, just, possibly made a mistake and their dog got loose. We're definitely willing to work with them to ensure that they get their dog back, whether it's waiving the fees, whether it's just charging them just for the licensing fees. Because believe it or not, there's a lot of dogs that are not licensed within Fulton County, and that is a huge issue. So we try to ensure that before every dog leaves the shelter, every dog is licensed. So we have to, take that and waive the redemption fee, then we definitely will to ensure that they get their animal back and the animal's license.
Indeed.
Mr. Farrell?
Well, you brought up a good point. So the county ordinance says that all animals have to be registered. And I think it's, my dog is deceased, but I think it was like, what, $85 a year or something like that, or 75 for 3 years or something, it's like $25 a year. I guess the question is, so do y'all get a percentage of those fees? And then the second question, which is, what is deemed a vicious dog or animal, I guess?
Yeah, the license work based off of your vaccination status. So if your dog has a 3-year license, you pay $25, and that license is for the entire years. If your veterinarian only issues a 1-year rabies vaccine, then that means that you have to pay $20 for each year. Way that we're based to make animals back. There's an incident that may occur where they may get loose and bite someone. As vicious animals, those declarations are made by myself and the shelter director. They are deemed based off of the county ordinance. They can range from a wide variety of different things. Typically, we don't automatically go to a vicious or a dangerous dog. And we typically start with a public nuisance dog and deem them as a public nuisance initially. And then once they are deemed a public nuisance, if there's another area of concern or issue that has occurred while that animal has been deemed as a public nuisance, then we will upgrade it to a dangerous or vicious animal. It also depends on the judge. If there's a citation that is issued for an animal, and we have deemed that animal as that dog, I should say, because we only do dogs for those type of declarations. If there's a dog that we have declared as a public nuisance, and if the judge feels as though that there needs to be extra precautions that are taken, as well as he finds enough grounds to say that he's willing to deem the dog dangerous, then there may be a court order that's provided by the judge to say that the animal is a dangerous dog. But initially, we do make the declarations here in-house for Fulton County Animal Services.
So dogs chasing kids or people as they walk and things of that nature, I've assumed that would start as the nuisance phase primarily, correct?
Yes, most definitely. I mean, that would start as a nuisance phase. We will take everything detailed. So we will make sure that we receive witness statements. We receive any type of camera footage there is before we do make a declaration. And that's because that person does have the authority to request for a trial when dealing with those declarations, and that the alternatives of those trials are dependent on your peers in the community, whether that dog is deemed or declared as a vicious or dangerous dog. So if your peers believe that that animal is not a vicious or dangerous dog, or if that owner has taken extra steps to say, hey, I'm going to make sure this doesn't happen again, then that declaration that myself and the shelter director make may be overturned.
So I
One last question.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Ms. Leverett. Well, so you talked about what I know she asked the question about roosters and chickens. What about people that just mysteriously get roosters and chickens, but there's no home for them? Like they just roam the neighborhoods and things of that nature. Who
So
should?
we can prove that they're the owners of those livestock. Then we will issue a citation. We will impound them. But everyone that has any type of livestock should have their animals contained. Whether it's within a fenced-in backyard or a fenced-in yard, period, or if it's inside a chicken coop, it still needs to be contained one way or another.
What I'm saying is, what if no one's claiming the rooster or chicken? I mean, we had that issue in my neighborhood a couple, like for the last 3 years, like a rooster would mysteriously appear and no one knew where it came from, but literally we called animal control and they're like, we do not do chickens. You need to call like a wildlife person. I'm like, huh? So
no, that's in previous years. I can't speak on that. The department was under different leadership then. But what I can speak about now is that we do handle chickens and we will respond out for chickens. And it is a requirement by my officers to ensure that they do everything in their power to catch the chickens. Rather, we need one person out there, go out there. We will go out there as many times as it takes to catch the chicken.
Well, let's just put it this way. I learned a lot because I learned about nesting, catching them at night, and all that kind of stuff. So, because I was like, what?
It's a lot easier to catch them at night because they are a lot more chill during nighttime. During the daytime, they're active, and they are a lot more aggressive during daytime than they are at night.
And from what I understand, they can't see as well or something. There's somebody that told me, trust me, I called some chicken wranglers and experts in the country, and they were like, nah, catch it at night. So
hey, Al, did you eat the eggs?
No, did not. We live in a crazy environment. I would not do that here. Now, if I was in the country, yes. Not in Metro Atlanta. No, not right now.
Favors?
You have an animal, a dog that is maybe on insulin and
I'm sorry, Ms. Favors. Can you unmute for me really quick?
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. You have a dog that is on insulin and on a special diet. And so do you have some service that provide for this dog?
So as part of the contract, we do not, but Lifeline does have a low-cost veterinarian clinic that we do have up Spaghetti Junction that we're able to provide those services for low cost versus you having to go to a private vet that may cost 3 times the amount. But as far as a resource, it just all depends. We do have a community service program that we are starting to build that is able to provide certain resources to people. It depends on the funding as well as it depends on if they are able to get those resources. So what I will advise you to do is if you're having that issue, I would definitely reach out to our community support, which is the same exact number, the 613-0358 number. And whatever extension it is that's not animal control, I will select that. And then just leave a voicemail for community support to reach back out to you, and they'll be able to assist you further.
Let me clarify myself. If I was adopting a dog from your service and this dog is on insulin on a special diet, is there any provision for me to be able to take care of this dog for his life or her lifetime?
Typically for medical cases like that, we typically try to adopt out those dogs. We typically send them to a rescue. We have a various different list of rescues that we partner with that take sick animals. So they're able to provide that constant care. A lot of our rescues have vet staff that are on staff that are able to write a prescription literally at the dime that they're able to get those resources and those medications. So we try not to burden the community with them as much as possible. We do adopt out heartworm positive dogs because heartworm is very, very prevalent here in Georgia. And we do provide heartworm treatment for those dogs that are heartworm positive. But if it's something that's, very, expensive and very tedious, and it's something that you have to continuously stay up top of, such as a diabetic dog, typically we will send them out to one of our 4 rescues that we partner with specifically for sick animals.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're gonna allow for one more question before we let our brother go. So go ahead for the last question for this young man here.
Mr. Farrell?
Oh, I'm sorry. Now, how many cities do y'all service in Fulton County? And then with that, if you're a third-party provider, really through the county, can't the city of South Fulton just come to y'all directly to provide those same services at a lower cost?
So the county bills the city of South Fulton for our services that we provide just because it is a county service. So I can't speak to that. That is a question for emergency management or Atlanta Fulton County Emergency Management Agency because they're the ones who contract out us. But we do provide services for all 15 jurisdictions within Fulton County. Hateville and College Park both have their own animal control due to code enforcement. But when those officers are off duty or those officers are unable to respond, we do respond out for those calls, and they do receive a bill for those services as well.
Well, let me just say that I appreciate you coming on, and I will you come back?
Anytime you need me. I'm
All
going
right.
to place my email down in the chat as well as my direct phone number for you to give me any phone calls or questions you may have. I just ask that if there is a animal complaint that you would like to file, to use the main number. I'm going to provide that number again, as well as my desk number for you to reach out to me if you have any questions or concerns with the services that are being provided.
All right, so let me repeat that.
Go ahead.
Your contact information that you are providing is if you have issues or questions to directly contact you, but to file complaints, they still need to go through the main number.
That's correct. And that's because the main line is recorded. So we need to make sure that we have a recording of all conversations that we're receiving calls for, just in case there may be some details or information that may not be provided or relayed to us. We can ensure that we can go back to that recording to receive all that information that, may have been displaced in transition of communication.
Awesome. And that's General Levitt right there. And I appreciate you getting that clarification, General Levitt. And so, but young man, as I will tell you, because you did say something that is very interesting, that y'all will not for the foreseeable future be getting wildlife. So I think that a wildlife position within the city of South Fulton may be warranted, seeming that we are majority AG1 and we do deal with that situation. But on another time, you have to come out and talk about what these monkeypox are. But that's not for today. But I want to thank you for taking your time out and coming and joining us and giving our community this much needed information and for coming out. And so I think that you have done a great job in explaining, and so that we will be in touch. And let's get together and see if we can do something with an adoption, as we definitely want to put that out there for those who may need or those who may want to adopt a pet or deal with a rescue. So that is something that I know is much needed as well. And that being said, sir, we appreciate you. Thank you for your time and service.
No problem. Thank you.
Right. All right. Oh, we will be sharing your information with our HOA cohort, so they might want to come bring you out individually. So we will be sharing that with the leaders of the community and their respective areas that they govern as far as the HOA, so they can deal with things individually. I hope that's okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Most definitely.
All right. Good deal. Good deal.
And I want to do a testimonial for you before you go. I didn't buy. I got a dog from the Fulton County shelter that I was not planning on getting. I thought I was going to pick a dog that would scare everybody, but not scare me, because I had a house break-in and the police said people don't break into houses with dogs as much as houses they don't have dogs. And so I went to get a dog from the Fulton County shelter. They said they know the perfect dog. The dog came out and walked right up to me. And I said, well, I guess the dog picked me. The dog turned out to be a pit bull, which is mainly when I showed the screen of pit bulls. And this is my hardcore dog right here. So y'all can see my hardcore pit bull laying next to me. And I just want y'all to know, I never would have thought that a pit bull is the mushy dog that we call her Marshmallow, not the real name, but because it's not as scary as I thought it was going to be to get a pit bull, because all the stories I always heard about in the neighborhood is pits are these terrible dogs. So I'm very confused how this one hardly barks, hardly does anything. Councilman Reeves has met her and knows she go up to everybody and wanting to pet her. So she's a big mushy dog. So can you explain why you have so many pits, and is that an anomaly, the one I got, or are they all like that?
Honestly, majority of them are like that. The issue is that a lot of people use pits to breed, unfortunately. And once they're at that puppy stage, they're cute and cuddly. And after that, they grow up to, start to show different signs, whether it's, urinating in the house, or may end up terrorizing your house. It just all depends. A lot of them just, once they get out of that cute puppy stage, they get rid of them. And that's the sad part. We impound a lot of animals that are between the age of 1 and 2. Just because, they're out of that cute little puppy stage and they don't want the dogs anymore. And that's the sad part about it, is because a lot of people don't realize that although, we're an animal shelter, we're caring for the animals. The issue is when we have animals that are housed together, a lot of those end up being very sweet animals that may end up turning into, very mean and aggressive animals just because of the environment that they're in. So, that's why we try to push and push and push to get those animals out of the building as fast as possible because of behavior regression. I can go on the whole topic and conversation about, the shelter environment, the things that it does to the dogs. But honestly, majority of the dogs that come in are very, very sweet. And that's why, we have so many animals in the building. A little teeny bit of always being alert. We always work with those animal testimony to all the other dogs that are in the shelter. We have over 220 dogs in the shelter right now that are adoptable. So that tells you a lot. We need the community's help. Pit bulls aren't bad animals. I've always had a pit bull my whole entire life. Surprisingly, this go around, I don't have one. I have a Doberman, and my Doberman's the same exact way. Everyone thinks that's an aggressive breed, but then, turn around, she won't even bark. So.
Awesome. That's good stuff. Good stuff. I can attest to that, right? And so, friendly dogs. Okay, sir. Well, look at. Thank you so much. And so I don't want to take up no more time of your day. I want to. We're a little past due, but I do appreciate you again for coming on and sharing this information. You're
Not a problem.
Not
a problem.
5-star. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed. So, Keely, are you still on with us?
Pardon me, Mr. Reed.
Okay, you're still on. Okay, good deal. So now, what we want to do rather quickly is go through and set up this Discord chat, and then we'll set up one for animal control, as anybody can come in and start this conversation and expand upon it as well. And so if you can go ahead and finish your presentation, man, that was awesome information. Good stuff. And so we can put that in there. Matter of fact,
yep, I just love.
Go ahead.
No, contact information is in there. Feel free to reach out to me anytime.
Your 5-star, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Appreciate you. So go ahead, Akili. Go ahead and if anybody wants to stay on and go in, I know it's 7 minutes past due, but I think this is important to get this Discord in. Hakili, is it an ability if we can have this recording drop in the Discord too, as a recording? Anybody can call in and get the recording of this conversation in the Discord chat, or we can just put in the link to YouTube and they can just go that route. Kaylee.
Yes, sir. Hello.
So while Akili is coming on to answer if the recording can go in the Discord or if it's still going to come through the website that they can go to the YouTube chat, which is going to happen with this recording.
Yes, can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, so basically what'll happen is whenever they click on the link for this chat on the website, it'll bring them to the Zoom chat. But the Discord chat with the channels will be open 24/7 to be able to post your comments in the appropriate chat channels.
Good deal. And so you was going to finish setting it up and walking people through the setup. As if everybody's ready, let's go through that process and get that done for those who want to stay on. If anybody want to log off, I do understand time is of essence, and so we appreciate you. But go ahead, Akili.
All right. So hopefully everybody can see my screen. All right. Can everybody see this right here? All right. So basically what you'll do, you'll go to discord.com/register. And I posted that into the chat. But there was 2 links. Matter of fact, I'm going to post this back in the chat because there was a couple of messages up with that one. But I'll post that so it's fresh at the bottom of it. But what you'll do, you'll click this this link, and then what you're gonna do is submit your email address. You put your username. And then you can put a password. And then it's going to ask you for a date of birth. I'm just going to put in a birth date. Say 1980. Check, I've read the terms and agreements, and then continue. So actually Tamika already has one like built on here, but after she submits this one for creating your account, it's going to send you an email to the account, the email that is going to send you an email to your email that you put in here to use to create your account. So all that's going to be on that email is just going to be a verification link. It's just going to be a button that says verify account. You click that, and then it's going to put you right into the chat here. I already see a couple of people. Alejandro, you joined a few minutes ago. I appreciate that. So, and that's what it'll put you in. It'll do like a little animation that'll have you whenever you join and everything like that. So basically be welcomed into the chat. So if anybody has any questions, you can raise your hand or you know what I'm saying, put something in the chat if anybody has any questions. I am curious though, if anybody has used Discord in the chat in this session, can you put a 1 in the chat? Just want to see if Discord is something that people are familiar with, or is this something completely brand new?
Is Discord familiar to you? Yes or no? Put that in the chat.
Okay, gotcha. So Victoria, she said she never heard of it. Has anybody else? Nope. Okay, gotcha. So this is completely okay, Ernest.
So just, I guess you can essentially think of it like we just take Nextdoor and put it on the website, basically.
Yeah, basically. No, it's actually good. I was wondering, but okay, cool. So it seems like the majority of the people in the chat right now have not heard of Discord. So this is something new. So let me ask, does this look like something that you guys, what I'm saying, would want to take and grow, and something that what I'm saying, seems easy, or does it seem like a little overwhelming? Maybe you can post that in the chat, like, or maybe some feedback from anybody, what I'm saying, what they think about the chat channels.
Right. And so basically this is literally like Nextdoor coming on, but it seems like a long process. I was just like, wake me up already when you was talking about going in and signing up and stuff. So if we can go to that a 5-step process, I mean, it just kind of seems that way, but
Yeah, I was about to say, probably from explaining it and definitely going through the steps, it does make it seem kind of like, longer than it is, but really it's just the link, what I'm saying, they put in their information and then it pops them in the chat. But
right. And so, basically, if you can go if anybody on Nextdoor comment, this right here is actually can be housed in, and if you, because I know people don't like sending emails, if they log in and voice a complaint like it will Nextdoor, this is going to want an official response, because it's like it's official complaint, as is Nextdoor is just Nextdoor. It's a sounding board. This kind of minimizes and kind of puts things into a perspective, and then it breaks things down in individual groups, and so we can see, the different complaints is like this. What was this? This got some comments in the chat here. It says, I don't chat, therefore have no interest in registering. Okay. Right. So this is what I'm saying. So if it's like that, that's fine. And those who don't want, those who don't comment, chime in. They be out and about. So it's this is just we want to make sure that we cover all bases and ensure that we're connecting, communicating with the community, particularly, and looking with metrics and milestones onto issues received until a timeline in which a resolve will happen and occur. And so I actually want timelines. I actually want metrics, and so that we can kind of gauge as to when something will be from origin to destination, is from complaint to completion. And so this is just another way that we will be able to monitor that as well. So
absolutely. What the goal is really just providing as many platforms as possible for people to have their voice, heard, for really any of the social issues or just community issues that are happening. So really just giving everybody the platform is here for anybody. And saying these are just like the ways to basically be able to access those platforms so you can be heard.
Absolutely. So listen here, is that all?
That's it. That's all I got.
Okay, she said, are the hashtags the discussions?
Yes. So
Okay, yes.
the hashtags are the different channels that you have for the different discussions on what you can talk about. So it's just a way to just so it's like organized. So like the different messages underneath it, you'll know exactly what everybody's talking about. you know what I'm saying, and discussing in that channel.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. And there can be
And
more created, you know what I'm saying, for different new discussions that want to be made to the chat and everything like that.
absolutely. Because it's truly your call, is whatever you want to talk about, make it happen. And so these are the things that we are here. And so this is you drive it. The community, the constituency drives this. And as we get on board and try to make as much progress as we can, but it's really creating a platform within the community, and so the community can, like, you can connect with your neighbors, because really don't nothing separate us but the trees, so that, you know, let's keep our communities connected as well. And, you know, things is going on in our prospective neighborhoods. Oh, I was at the HOA meeting on Saturday for Sable Chase, and Mr. Farrell was leading the charge, and one of their members put on the challenge. They want to have an ingress egress contest as best neighborhood. And so who's got that green thumb and wants to plant? And so I think we're gonna follow suit. They said game on, and so I said, hey, let's do it. And so, Mr. Farrell, do you want to speak about that?
Yeah, so it started. Thank you again for coming out on Saturday. We do appreciate it. It was, you know, definitely well worth it, and the neighborhood, you know, appreciate it as well, because we did a hybrid version of the meeting. So we were doing it on Zoom as well as meeting face to face at our basketball court. And we had probably about, you know, we have 400 houses, so we just like everybody else, but we had about probably about 20 people engaged in the process. But we also have a next door channel, so I posted all the recaps for my neighborhood on that, and people have been commenting left and right, like, oh wow, you know, get information. But we came up with the idea of just having one neighborhood, you know, yard of the month, and we would give out, you know, $25 Lowe's gift cards. Should have went to Ace, wasn't thinking, but, you know, we were just trying to get it done. So Corey reminded me of that. Next time we will definitely do that. And with that being said, that's when one of the other neighbors, who lives actually almost at the entrance of one of our entrances, stated, like, hey, let's have the best neighborhood entrance type contest throughout the district. And of course, you know, that being said, just trying to catapult, you know, neighborhood pride, community pride, you know, city council district pride, to the point where it becomes a competition. And the next thing you know, people are just taking more pride in the community. Because like I tell everyone, my neighborhood has 430 houses and townhouses. We're a small town. I don't care where you go to South Georgia, we're bigger than sometimes. We don't have to go too far to South. You go out West Georgia, go off 20, some of those cities, and that's what we are. And so with that being said, we just have to take pride in it. And I think it's a great idea. So hopefully we can come, work with Corey and others, neighborhood HOA leaders, to come with a plan, and there be some kind of reward or some kind of event, maybe at the Burdette Center, whatever, but that's one thing we're talking about. And, we just appreciate, you coming out, because it was definitely informative. I mean, I think we were probably done with our portion from the board side in 20 minutes, and he, was engaged with, for about the next 40 minutes. We were in and out. We were done at 12 o'clock. We started at 11:05. We were done at 12. And so, it's just good. But one thing I will say, Corey, and I'll chime in, I need to catch up with you. Saturday night, well, yesterday morning, about 2 o'clock, I get texts, emails, whatever. The Fusion Club over here at Union City side in the Chevron parking lot. Mm-hmm. People started parking in my neighborhood, blocking up one of my streets. The police came out and said, well, it's a public street. There's nothing we can do.
Get this. Not true. Y'all have a parking ordinance. Get this. And we're about to fix that too, because as long as you have the signs, and as I told you, get with a tow truck and they do it, because there's.
Well, that's what we're going to work with you on it. True enough. That is true.
Right.
But the people did call the police, and, because I put all that stuff in our, in my recap of the next door, and people are like, oh, wow, I didn't know. But then yesterday morning to get that call or that email, and I'm like, the police can tow it because I just put well, that's a whole nother story. But the ordinance also says you can't block driveways, you can't block corners, you can't be parked too close. And then they left trash all on the streets. And, and so of course, and the only reason I found out about it was because one of the neighbors works for Amazon. They would come home at 4 o'clock in the morning. And they're like, wow, these cars. And they thought somebody was having a party in the neighborhood, realized it wasn't. And it was people at the Fusion Club. So we need to have a conversation with them. I know it's Union City, but I just need your assistance so we can have a dialogue, because the next step will be, we're going to start having cars towed, like literally. But, of course, that may impact some of my residents, so.
Well, remember that parking lot permit I talked to them about, and so get through the HOA. So like I said, this would be a good deal, because I literally got a call today about someone who was parked in the community, and they was in the community, and they passed the parking orders. They didn't even have the signs, but they had their vehicle towed. Was on the side of the street. So this can happen. It is real. It is realistic, particularly. And I'll get with my colleague over in Union City, get with the business owner over there, and get with you guys, and let's have a meeting and see if we can first come to a diplomatic resolve.
Exactly.
Before we have to go that route. But
we're still going to look at the parking ordinance. Don't get me wrong. And that was already planned as well. So now that we're starting to get some positive traction from it, just from the HO, from resident standpoint, like, oh yeah, I like it. So like I said, it applies to everybody once we put it up,
Oh, right.
So we got
so and call Antonio Valenzuela and or email him and send us and copy us in on it and tell them to put in the signs. And you can call matter of fact, Jane Williams community over at Brentwood Place, they had to go through this process so they can tell you what you need to do about getting those signs, because the city doesn't.
Okay, yeah, I'll reach out to her and let's see.
Yes,
she can give me some word. But yeah, so let's. I mean, everybody's on the call. If you're in a neighborhood, whether it's organized or not per se, have a neighborhood contest. Join everybody and just talk some junk. Like, look what we did here. Look. And whether you do it yourself or you pay somebody to do it, we have landscapers, so I ain't gonna say and lie. I mean, we pay a landscaping company, but we get on them too, because sometimes they'll put some cheesy looking flowers out. We had to get on them last spring, like, nah, man, you gotta add some more color, stuff like that. This is what we want. And so just have fun with it. It's summertime. We are doing some things, so we appreciate you coming out. And like I said, our next event, we hope to do a back to school event, maybe partner with other neighborhoods in the community. I think you did bring that up, on Saturday as well, possibly doing like just a big neighborhood back to school event. And then I did see your email today about the police national night out for HOAs. So definitely, if you have something, so we're going to look to try to see if we can partner with y'all or partner with the police department on that day at the LA Fitness parking lot in August as well. So.
Right. And so this is when she had brought up the competition, I said, so community of the year award, what we would do is do the end of the summer rap party for the winner, and we'll just bring all the resources and the community to that community who won. And so instead of having things in silos and getting so much, we'll just bring everybody together. And I think that one big neighborhood block party. And so to celebrate, the beauty that we have, competition and good spirit, and all the resources that we have. And so just kind of connecting the community together. And I think that that's something that we can do and we should do. And so we're going to flesh that out and try to roll this out. So y'all get ready. Y'all green thumbers, come on, let's go. And we're going to have the judges will not be me. And so it will be some people who are subject matter experts in getting these, knowing how to plan and knowing who have that green thumb and that background. Also, too, this Saturday, 8 a.m., we are doing the Stop the Violence Walk from Old National Commons to Kroger and back. And that starts at 8 o'clock. So feel free to start off the Jubilee celebration of Juneteenth is with a Stop the Violence Walk. Bring your peace of mind and leave your peace at home, okay? And so then go on and join us over at Wolf Creek from 1 to 10, Wolf Creek Amphitheater from 1 to 10 in our Juneteenth celebration. So it's a fun-filled week, fun-filled weekend. Do not forget, there is a work session, the special call meeting tomorrow, tune into that as we are set to hear some zoning cases. And so you don't want to miss that. And also, what else do we have up this week? I think there's a tour still scheduled with the E911 Center on Wednesday. If anybody want to still sign up for that. But outside of that, I'll let Tamika wrap it up with any other announcements she has. But I do want to leave you with this and thank you all for taking time out of your day and joining this call. I know we are a little bit over today, and but it's well worth it. I think so. And sometimes we will do that, but you know, I like to keep y'all getting out on time. And so I love you. You can't do nothing about it. And I want y'all to enjoy the balance of y'all evening. Tamika, if you have anything to add to it, please feel free.
Short version, we are in the process of getting ready to work on a 3-part police safety training that's going to be once a month, July, August, and September. We are also working on scheduling a tour for Cottage Homes for July 16th. So get prepared to do those things if anybody wants to see what they look like in person. And I think you covered the other ones. So everything else, I'll have a list for next week. But those are heads up that those are getting ready to go out. And don't forget, we have the 911 tours available this evening and next week in the evening for those who want to go in the evening.
And to me, I'm a graduate of South Fulton University. Don't forget to sign up for South Fulton University. It's very informative, over 10 weeks, but you learn a lot.
Thank you, Al. Thank you, sir.
Have a good night, everybody.
All right, good evening.